Hi. Thank you for coming. I think this is spiritual partners 53 or something. And you know, every time we do a spiritual partner talk, we start them in Tucson and then we carry them around the world. And we just got back 2 days ago from a 4-month tour of many countries. I think Mongolia, Japan, China, Hong Kong, France, Morocco. So it's nice to be back in Tucson. Huh?
Mexico.
Oh, Mexico, yeah. And every time we have to think about, oh, what are we going to talk about? You know? And this time we thought to talk about something from a Lama who lived in India about 13 centuries ago. And his name was Shantideva, Master Shantideva. And in fact, His Holiness, when he came to Tucson, I think everything for us is before 3 retreat or after 3. He came before 3 retreat and he taught Master Shantideva's, I think, Patience chapter. And then later he came and taught the 9th chapter. The chapter on wisdom. So Tucson has had more Master Shantideva by the highest lamas than I guess anybody. But we're just going to throw in a spiritual partner Shantideva. His book, his most famous book is called Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. And basically it goes through what we call the 6 perfections, or 6 types of good behavior that a person could do. And they are giving, and then not hurting others, being kind to others. Then patience, or the art of remaining calm. And then being happy to do good things, they call joyful effort. And then learning how to meditate, how to keep your mind on a single point. And then wisdom, or understanding how the world really works. And we thought we would take a piece out of his meditation chapter. He starts out the chapter, it's very beautiful, the whole book is in poetry. And he says, oh, you know, how pleasant it is to live quietly by yourself, out with the birds and the wild animals, out in the desert or out in the forest, you know, like a hermit, yogi, or a monk. You know, how pleasant it is to just give up everything and the hustle and bustle of the world and the noise of the world and all the noisy people of the world, who he calls mewling infants. And how pleasant to leave them and go out in the forest and be by yourself and do your meditation. And he goes on like that for lines, but then suddenly he says, he stops and you can feel the jerk, you know, when he stops. It's like a sudden stop. And he says, but what are you going to meditate about, you know? And then he seems like stuck for a moment, you know, like he's got you in the forest, and he's got you all by yourself, and he's got you in this quiet place. And then you can see him sitting there with his pen, not quite sure what to write next, you know? It's like, but what are you going to meditate about? Like, you know, maybe they'll still be reading this book 13 centuries from now. What's the most important meditation for people 13 centuries from now? And then he goes off on a thing called Dakshin Nyamje. Say it's good luck. Dakshin Nyamje. Dakshin Nyamje. Dak means me. Shen means other people, you. Nyamje means let's switch them. Let's switch me and you. Okay? Let's switch me and you. That's the best meditation you can do, because that meditation brings you to understand kindness or serving other people, Dakshin Nyamje. And to develop the desire to help others is the highest kind of meditation you can do. So he goes off on this long thing about developing true love for other people. And we thought that would be appropriate for a spiritual partner talk. we're not very good at it, okay? And we always do a disclaimer. We're not very good at it. I'm not very good at it, but I know Tibetan and I can explain it to you. So I'm going to start out with the verse on the page. It's the first page of verses. Do you have a reading? Did everybody do a reading? Did you get one? Did anybody not get one? Raise your hand. That's great. You know?
Did they get printed out?
Maybe we should do a meditation on emptiness.
We don't have readings. You guys could come back. Just come back. This is, everybody in the foyer just...
Alright, you have to pretend you have a reading, and we'll give you the thing tomorrow. I'll read it to you, so now you have to actually pay attention. Given the fact that both myself and others are exactly the same in wanting happiness, what difference could there ever be between us? What reason that I work only for the happiness of myself? Given the fact that both myself and others are exactly the same in not wanting pain, what difference could there ever be between us? What reason did I protect myself and not all others? So he starts off on Geshe by saying we're the same. If you really, really understand this practice, I don't know how to say it. To explain this practice, I was trying to think of some comparison today. I can imagine Columbus standing before the King of Spain and the Queen of Spain, you know, and explaining to them why they should invest like $50 million, at the time, in a project to take a ship around the world, because the world is a ball and it will fall off when it gets. And then I struggle to find a comparison. I think that's not too bad. He's sitting there asking two of the most powerful people in the world for a huge sum of money, a big part of the Spanish treasury, right? On the idea that he will get into a ship and sail off, and it will go around a ball and not fall off the world and come back. You know, like that's what he's telling them. And they just can't understand it, you see? They can't understand it. In their whole world, in their whole experience, in their whole life, everything they've ever been told by their teachers or their parents or the priests, everything they've ever heard or thought, it's not true. What he's saying is not true. And then he's asking for a very large sum of money to do this, and to explain Dakshin Nyanje in English words is not possible. I don't think so. You see, I don't know if it's possible to explain it. There's a problem with our words, right? Because it's completely different than what we do. And it's completely alien to our whole mind. And it's the only way that we can ever learn to love people. You see? So we have different relationships now. We stand in relationship to other people. You are sitting in the pews in a certain position. Other people are behind you or in front of you or either side of you. You have a relationship. We talk about relationships between people. But when you get through a Dakshin Nyamje, you will be something else. And I don't think you can describe it in English. But we'll try it. Okay? We have to try it because you're sitting here. We have to do something. But it's like this. I'll say it and you try to think about it, okay? So I'm one person and there's another person here. And we have a relationship, okay? And then you can talk all night about how to make the relationship nice, right? You can say, you should say nice things to them, you should wash the dishes, they should take out the garbage, you should both pay the bills. You can give advice like that about partners. You can give advice about how to But when you use the words each other, you've already failed. See? When you say each other, then the words have already failed. When you say you should exchange yourself with the other person, the words have already failed because you've used the word self and you've used the word other person. You see? So, because your idea of me and your idea of the other person is completely and utterly wrong. And as long as you hold that idea, you can't have a good relationship. It will never happen. It will never work. It can't work. Okay? So, what do you mean by that? You know, am I Michael and is she Christy? You know, am I here and is she there? Aren't we in a relationship? Don't we have a relationship? You see? Don't we interact? So there's different ways of looking at the relationship. One is I want what I want. You know, like I have a partner, I have another person here because I want things from them. You know, like I expect certain needs to be fulfilled. Physical and emotional and mental needs, I need fulfillment from them. And that's one way of looking at a relationship. And you know that's not a strong way of living. You know, it will break down. That kind of relationship will break down. I just want this person around me because they perform certain functions for me. And they provide certain things I need. You know? So that's kind of the lowest level relationship. Next level is I have certain needs, but I also understand that she has certain needs. You see, like she likes to hug, what do you call those little fuzzy things at night in the bed? Teddy bears. You know, or what do you call them? Little sheep and stuff like that. You know, she likes that.
You'll see it tomorrow.
She likes to hug those little things. And I heard she had like 1,000 when she was a kid. Now she's only got 2, I think. That's me. But she likes that. You see, she likes that. And I personally, I like ice cream. No, so I don't really relate to these fuzzy things. You know? No, it's not important to me. It's just something I never did. You know, and I've tried, but it doesn't really. It's not like something that I need. You know, and then but ice cream. You know, that's different. And I need ice cream. If I almost got ice cream and you prevent me from getting it, then I'll get angry. So that's how much I need ice cream. You know? So I have it, and she doesn't like it. She doesn't like ice cream that way. So not that kind of ice cream. So I want a certain kind of ice cream. She wants these fuzzy things. But I want you to think about something. I want you to think about something. That's what makes me different from her. You see, think about that. You see, I have different needs than her. You see, the set of needs that I have are the things that I like, are the things I want. They are who I am. That's how if you walked into a room and it was dark, you had what do you call it, blindfold on, and we had our voices disguised, and you said, there's one person over here, there's one person over there, and you said, okay, who's in the dark room? We get to 2 people, and they'd say, well, who are they? And they'd say, it's Geshe, Michael, and Mark. Okay. And then they'd say, can you figure out which one is which? You see, in a dark room, with all the, you can't see anything. Then you could just do a simple test. You could say, the one who likes ice cream, make a noise. And the one who likes fuzzy things, you make a different noise. And then they could tell you, oh, that's Mama Christie's sitting over there, and Geshe Michael's sitting over there. You are defined by your wants. You are defined by what you need. You are defined by what your goals are. And what do you want in your life? What do you want your life to be? So in a way, it's not the skin that defines you, right? Because you're bigger than your skin. I can think of how you're feeling. I can see to the end of the room. In a way, my self extends to the glass. I can imagine stars. I can imagine planets. I can strongly imagine other beings on those planets, things I don't stop at my skin. I am all the things I want. I am all the things I aspire to. Okay? Like that. That's who Michael is. And that's how you can tell Michael in the dark room. Okay? So, just briefly, and we'll talk more. Okay? How do I get what I want? How do I get what I want? You know, I want ice cream. You know, so I made sure I put some money in my pocket. They have a month's pocket here. It was made for dollar bills, it's the right size. And I made sure I had money when we left the house, because there's a small chance, like 1% chance, we'll stop by someplace and have ice cream on the way home from the church, you know. So I put some money in my pocket. I know how to get ice cream. You know, you put money in your pocket. You put enough money in your pocket, and then you tell whoever's driving the car, you say, could you swing by 31 Flanders, you know, on the way home, like that. And I know how to get what I want. But according to Master Shantideva, you see, according to Master Shantideva, that's not how you get ice cream. Okay? That's not how you get ice cream. We have driven to the 31 Flanders. I have whined and complained and reasoned with infinite, you think Madhyamika is hard to prove, with infinite arguments. I have won a trip to 31 Flanders. And then we drive by and it's closed already. You see? So I have the money, but the money didn't give me the ice cream. And in the end, all the things you think make ice cream, they don't. You see, it's not the milk, it's not sugar, it's not the teenage funny guys behind the counter with the hat. It's not the money, and it's not driving there that got you the ice cream. We say, Master Shantideva says, Jesus said, I like to talk in churches because Jesus said all these things. How do you get ice cream? What's the only way to get ice cream? You tell me. You provide it to someone else. You provide it to someone else. You take what you want the most, and you provide it to someone else first, unilaterally, trusting it will come back. Okay? Trusting it will come back. And you just do it that way. That's how you get things. In this different Columbusian worldview, it's a completely different worldview. Getting ice cream has nothing to do with money, nothing to do with an ice cream shop, nothing to do with milk or sugar, a refrigerator. They can't get you ice cream. None of them can get you ice cream. Only thing that can get you ice cream is providing to someone else what they want. You see? So what's that mean for me? If I want my favorite thing, what do I have to do to Mom Christie? I have to make sure she gets her favorite thing. Right? I mean, it doesn't make sense in the world, but it doesn't make sense according to what I've been saying. It's the only way I can get my favorite thing. I have to provide it to someone else first. I have to make the karma. I have to make karma. So, for me to get ice cream, I have to come up with a fuzzy thing. You know, one of those fuzzy things. Okay? So don't think we have a logical fault of dissimilar cause and result. I'm talking favorite thing, not fuzzy and cold. Cold doesn't cause fuzzy, fuzzy doesn't cause cold. But favorite thing causes favorite thing. Got it? So for me to get my favorite thing, I have to provide her with her favorite thing. Now I have two goals in my life. What's that? I have to get ice cream and I have to get fuzzy things. Because to get the ice cream, I have to get the fuzzy thing. Got it? Now I have two goals in my life. Just because of the way reality works, like gravity, not out of kindness, not out of morality, not out of any religion, forget spiritual stuff. For me to get ice cream, now, if Columbus is right, then I must buy fuzzy things first and provide them to the fuzzy thing like a person. Okay? I must now have two goals. Because I have my own goal, I must get the fuzzy thing. I must buy fuzzy things to get the ice cream, you see? Now you can say Geshe Michael is a person who has two favorite things. What? Ice cream and fuzzy thing. If you were in a dark room after the teaching, and they were sitting, and you said, who wants fuzzy things? Who would say yes? Both. Then there'd be a test to find out if it's Geshe Michael. They'd have to say, well, who also wants ice cream? And then I would say, I do. But you see, in the first case, when you said, who wants fuzzy things? Anybody who wants fuzzy things in this dark room, say yes. Then how many yeses? 2. If what I want defines me, if what I want defines Michael, how many Michaels in the room? How many Michaels in the room now? There's 2. This is where our language breaks down. This is where your mind starts. This is a huge wall of a whole lifetime of hearing something else. You know? So we try to break through that wall. Right now, right this moment, at the very beginning of the teaching, can you grasp that if the 2 people in the room really understand where things are, if they understand reality, then there's only one person in the room. If I am all the things I want, which we already agreed to, then there's only one person in the dark room. There's only one person. You have to struggle with that. You have to struggle with that. You have to struggle with the idea that there's one person and 2 bodies. There's 2 bodies, but by every definition of what a person is, there's only one person in the room. Okay? I propose this. Master Shantideva proposes this. We are proposing this idea. There's only one person in the dark room. Okay? Now we have to struggle with that for 2 days. And in your mind, kachik will come. What's kachik? Kachik is we call kachik. Say kachik. Kachik. Oh, you're sleepy. It's Friday. Kachik. Kachik means the other guy. Kachik means the other guy in a debate. You know? So in your mind, there's other kachik. Kachik means, yeah, but. Okay. Kachik means, yeah, but. Okay? So I said, oh, now there's one person in the room. 2 bodies, 1 person. And in your mind did what? Yeah, but. Okay, and then the rest of Master Shakideva's chapter is all yeah, but. Okay, forget kachik, we'll say yeah, but. Okay, the whole rest of the chapter is yeah, but. People come and they say, you're crazy. The world's not round. You can see, the ship will fall off, you can see her. You know, people come and call him crazy. And then he answers each one. And at the end of the chapter, we'll see what happens. Okay? Columbus gets to go. And you're here because of that. Okay? Mostly. So we'll go like that. I propose, Shantideva proposed, we are proposing, there's only one person sitting here. By any definition of person, there's only one person. There are 2 bodies here. There's one person here. Then you get all sorts of problems. What are we going to call you now? We're going to wear now. Okay, don't worry about that.
So that was probably the strangest title I've ever gotten in a talk. Fuzzy person later. I don't know. That's a new one for me. So, yeah, it was, I don't like it that much.
You're just afraid.
Yeah, and there's not enough room on the bed for you guys to get me more, so just keep that in mind. So I'm sorry you didn't get the reading because I worked really hard on it and played, but what we called the reading for these 2 nights of talks is Everyone is My Partner, right? Has a little nice cover like this. I get to show it off to you because you don't have one yourself, right? And it's, and this is, the point is that, you know, we've been doing these spiritual partner talks for several years now, and we've been working mostly on trying to make our partner and ourself, you know, kind of one body. You know, we've tried to work really hard on seeing the other person's needs as our own, and So we thought to branch out a little bit. It's like, well, once you get a good basis with your own partner, with your own partnership, like once you get this going and you're starting to be fluid in the world and you're starting to work together as one, sort of like one body with 4 arms and 4 legs, and you can do twice as much together as you can apart, you know, and you start to get this feeling that you're getting it, right? Then what's the next step? The next step is to branch out from there. You know, you've got the one body with 4 arms and 4 legs, and now what do you do with it? You look to the rest of the world. You know, you look out to the rest of the world to see how you can now together reach your ultimate goal, right? And our ultimate goal, let's put it very simply, you know, not get into all this elaborate talk about enlightenment. We all want to be happy, right? We all want to be happy. Let's get to ultimate happiness, shall we? Let's just get to ultimate happiness. So our ultimate goal is to be ultimately happy. And how do we do that? Well, working with our own one partner is the first step, and then working to achieve that same goal with every single other person we meet is the next step beyond that. You know, so Master Shantideva was talking about, you know, this practice called Dakshin Nyamde. It's like every single person that you ever meet during the day is connected to you. Every single person that you meet during the day is a partner to you. You go to the gas station and you get your gas filled by somebody, and they are your partner. And you go to the grocery store and somebody checks out your groceries and they are your partner. And you get stopped by a policeman for speeding and you see the guy as you roll down the window and they are your partner too. And everybody that you ever come into contact with somehow is a partner to you. Why? Because they are going to help you get to your ultimate goal of ultimate happiness. And you can't get there without them. You need them. You need every single other person that you ever meet to get to ultimate happiness. And they are providing you the means just by being there. Just by being there and being a person and wanting something, like Geshe was talking about, you know, other people's wants, other people's needs. Their wants and their needs are the key to getting yourself to ultimate happiness. Making their wants and their needs your own is the key to getting ourselves to ultimate happiness. But, you know, there's this line that we have drawn around ourselves since we were born, and since way beyond that, but we won't get into that either, that differentiates ourselves and our minds from other people. It's like, I stop here at the edge of my skin, and I don't go any further than that. And we learned, you know, when we were kids, we learned how this gets reinforced by our experiences. You know, we slip and fall on the playground, and scuff our knee on the ground, and it hurts. And then, you know, your friend over there slips and falls on the playground and scuffs his knee, and it doesn't hurt me, does it? It doesn't hurt me. It's a different body. It's a different person. So that person can't be me, you see? And you have this in your mind over and over. And this is the kachik, right? This is the yeah that comes in your mind when I say, you can make your circle of me bigger and you can encompass somebody else. You're like, yeah, but I don't feel their pain. You know, I don't feel it when Jimmy's knee gets scraped. I only feel it when my knee gets scraped. So therefore, there's a difference between me and him. You know, there's a line between me and him. And the line gets stronger and stronger as you think more and more and more about this. But in reality, that line it's not really there. It's not really there. It's just a picture in your mind that you keep carving over and over in your mind by habit. Like we have a habit to think of ourselves as stopping at our skin. So Master Shantideva, he gives this Kachik guy a really interesting argument. He says, well, yeah, you know, when Jimmy is hungry, you don't feel the hunger pains, right? So you don't have to feed Jimmy food. But when you're hungry, you feel hunger pains, so you have to feed yourself food, right? And the guy's like, right, yeah, you know, I have to feed myself. I don't have to worry about anybody else getting food. Because I'm the only one that's going to feel my pain. And I don't feel anybody else's pain. And then Master Shantideva says, yeah, well, do you ever buy groceries? It's a very profound question. Do you ever buy groceries? And you have to say yes, right? You know, we buy groceries. For who? For ourselves. We buy groceries for ourselves. We buy groceries for ourselves in the future, right? We buy groceries for a person in the future that doesn't even exist yet, and a person in the future whose pain we cannot feel. We buy groceries for an imaginary self that exists somewhere tomorrow or the next day or the day after that. And so the line that we have around me, the person we call me, extends into an imaginary person in the future that you can't even see and you can't even feel. You have to picture what you're doing in your mind when you buy groceries, right? You have to picture what kind of line you're drawing around me. You are planning for a person who doesn't exist. You are taking care of a person who doesn't exist, a person whose pain you cannot feel, a person who you don't have any proof will even be there. While there are people right next to you who you can see and feel, who are hungry, who you don't take care of. Because you don't draw the line of me around this other person, right? So, Master Shantideva is proving to us, you don't need to feel the other person's pain in order to draw the line around them and call them me. You don't need to, because we're already doing it all the time. All the time. You know? So whether or not we can feel somebody next to us, their hunger, we can still see them as me, and we can still take care of their pain and their hunger, and we can still feed them. Right? Why would we want to do this? Why would we want to do this? I think it's important to talk about it at the very beginning of the talk. And you know, we've talked about this many times, and I love this particular point, but I always think of a new mother when I talk about Master Shantideva, because it's a perfect example of somebody who automatically draws a line around another body and calls it them. You know, like the mother, she's holding the child in her arms and she's like, this is me. This is part of me. You know, the child is hungry. You know, I must do something. The child is happy, I am happy. You know, it's like every single, it's this total devotion to another body as their very own self. And that is the reason why young mothers have such a beautiful glow about them, and they're so radiantly happy, even though they're kept up all night by crying, screaming infants. They are so blissed out because they are serving somebody besides themselves. They are taking care of somebody besides themselves. They stopped thinking about their own wants and needs, and they put themselves into somebody else's place, and they just encompass them as themselves, and it makes them so happy. It makes them so happy to take care of someone else. And this is just one other person, you know? This is just one little tiny baby that the mother is doing this with. Imagine the bliss we would feel feel if we got good at this and we were doing this with everybody we met. Imagine how happy it would make you feel if you could extend the line of yourself to encompass everyone else in the room. I don't think you can even imagine it. Your feet wouldn't touch the ground. It would be so amazing. It'd be so exhilaratingly blissful. The only way we can get happiness for ourselves is by taking care of other people. And this is a very deep and profound way of getting our minds to do it. Right? By analyzing who we think we really are and challenging that view and maybe then changing it.
I'll read you the next verse, since you don't have it. And suppose that any particular pain were only something that a particular one had to care about. If this were the case, then a pain in the foot would be nothing for the hand. Why then does it care? So Master Shantideva is talking about the same question. The other guy says, I am not Christy, because if Christy's hungry, I don't feel hungry. And that divides us. That separates us. We have different feelings. That's why people have to watch out for themselves. I don't get hungry when she's hungry. I get hungry when I'm hungry. If I don't eat, I'll pass out. If she doesn't eat, I don't pass out. So we are different. We're not one person, as you said. Okay? He says that. And then Master Shantideva, he gives a beautiful example. And you can spend many years, you can spend the rest of your life thinking about it. Okay? He says, suppose you step on a nail. You step on a rusty nail, right? Can the foot take the nail out itself? You step with your left foot on a rusty nail. Can the left foot take the nail out? I mean, maybe there's some yogis who can. I don't know. I don't know. But the nail is in my left foot, right? The nail has punctured my foot. Then what do you do? What do people usually do? What do you usually do? You pull it out. I mean, you pull it out. Right? You reach down with your hand and you pull it out. That's what Master Shantideva is talking about, okay? The hand, he says, reaches down to the foot and it pulls out the nail, right? Why does he say the hand and the foot? What should he say? What should he say? My hand, my foot, right? But no, the hand and the foot are separate. You see? When the foot is hungry, the hand doesn't get hungry. When the foot is in pain, the hand doesn't have pain. You see? The nail punctured the foot. The nail didn't puncture the hand. So why should the hand worry about the foot? See? Who's he talking to? Who's he talking to? He's talking to Yabat. Okay, a Yabat came. That could be a new word now, but I get the copyright. A Yabat came. A Yabat came. It kind of has a nice ring to it because they're usually running. The Yabat comes, and he said, but when Mother Christy gets hungry, you don't get hungry, so you're separate. Well, then you shouldn't pull nails out of your feet. Because when the foot is having trouble, the hand doesn't feel in trouble, the foot feels in trouble. They're separate. They're separate. And then what does Yabat say? Yabat's really dumb, okay? Yabat is us. Yabat is us. What does Yabat say? What does Yabat say? What's my foot? I mean, if I don't take the nail out, then the foot will get infected. Then what will happen? No, we had a friend who died 2 days Because they are one body. They are one body. See, the hand and the foot are one body. Okay? Got it? If your goals are the same, if my happiness, if the hand's happiness depends on the welfare of the foot, right? Then we are one. We are one body. Okay? If hand's health, if hand's life, continued life, depends on the continued life of the foot, then they are one body. Then they are one body. What is, how do I get ice cream? Huh? I buy fuzzy things, right? That's how I get ice cream, right? My welfare depends on her welfare. You see, in karma, in the laws of karma, okay? You don't have to believe it, just think about it, okay? You don't have to believe it. According to the laws of karma, the only way I can get my favorite thing, the only guaranteed way to get my favorite thing, the only way my favorite thing could ever be caused is if I provide someone else with their favorite thing. That's the only way I can get my favorite thing, right? So my welfare, my ultimate goal, what? Ice cream. Depends on her getting her ultimate goal. Got it? If she doesn't get hers, I don't get mine. Got it? She's like the foot. I'm like the hand. You see, there's no difference. There's no difference. You see, the hand must take interest in what the foot needs. Why? The hand only lives if the foot lives. You see, if the foot gets infected, the hand dies. You see, if Lama Christie doesn't get what she wants, I don't get what I want. So by all the logic of your world that you already live in, by all the logic that you accept, the hand and the foot are one body, and then me and Lama Christie are one body. One body. Got it? I'm like the hand, she's like the foot. If she doesn't get what she needs, I can't get what I need. That makes us one body. Got it? Get it? It's very hard. We are one person. We are really one person. And the foot thing proves it. Okay? You have to think about it. If I can't get what I want, unless she gets what she wants, then we are foot and hand. Then we are truly one body. Got it? It's hard. It's a little hard. What are we going to call this one body? You see, can I call it I? Can I call it me? Can I call it me? Huh? I don't think so, because then she's going to be me also. Then we can't have a relationship. That's Buddhist logic. For things to share a relationship, they must be separate. They have to be separate. Two things, there's only two kinds of relationships, we're not going to go into that. In logic. But for me to have a relationship with her, we must be separate things. The sunflower cannot have a relationship with the sunflower because it's only one thing. So there's no interrelation, there's no interconnection, there's no back and forth. Relationship requires two different things. How can I have a relationship if I'm I? If we're I, then how can we have a relationship? Does the foot have a relationship with the hand? Does the foot have a relationship with the hand? Yeah, from that point of view. But from another point of view, they're one body, right? One body. They are one body. So what do I call it now? When I buy a fuzzy thing, is it for me or for her? Now you got two things. See, now you got two things. It's for me. It's for me. Okay? It's for me. Because I am defined by what I want. You see? It's very difficult. If this worldview takes hold, what might happen to our language? How do I refer to Lama Christie? Me. I have to say me. No, we is too. What I'm saying is that
It's the karma for this.
imagine a world in which me and her, the words don't exist anymore. There's just the word I, and it covers both of us. Imagine a planet, imagine a different realm where there's no word for me and her. It's just I, and it covers both bodies. Imagine what it would be like to live in that kind of world. Try to grasp a higher world where they don't even have a word for me and her. And the word relationship doesn't exist either. The spiritual partner doesn't exist, because there's only one. Got it? There is a world like that. We will come to that. We will evolve to that. Language will suddenly simplify and strip down to zero. I want to hold the fuzzy thing tonight. It's very hard to think. You will reach a world like this. This world will turn into that world. We will stop using separate words, because there won't be separate things, because we won't see them as separate. We won't see them as separate. You don't have a word in English for single word for the left side of your first fingernail and the right side of your first fingernail. You don't have a word in English for that. There's no such word, because we don't see the fingernail that way. We just see one fingernail, right? Imagine now a world where they don't use the word me and her. They just have one word, I, and it covers both bodies. And when you say, I want to eat, you're feeding both equally. Ice cream.
Am I getting set up? I have to bribe Tricky to drive really slow so the ice cream place is closed by the time we get there. What do you want, Tricky? Just kidding. Alright. Yes. Okay. So, I'd like to do a little meditation. It's really short, and don't worry, not painful. And just put your feet flat on the floor and make sure your spine is straight. Like, probably not lean against the back of the pew for about a minute or two. It's not, it won't kill you. Just so your back is really straight. And then place your hands comfortably anywhere on your knees. Make sure your chin is level with the floor. And then slowly close your eyes. Try not to move at all. Just sit there very still. And place your mind right at the tip of your nose. And watch the air as it flows out of your body and then back in. So you have this line around who you think of as you. And it goes around your physical body. You can picture it now, but what do you think of when you think of me? Then go back to watching the breath enter your nostrils and then leave. As the air starts to enter into your nostrils, at what point does that air, which was not you, suddenly become you? Is it as soon as it crosses the threshold of your nostrils, or is it a little bit later? When does the air that was outside you become you? And what is the difference between the air that you're calling you and the air that's outside of that line? You see, there's a problem here with the line. Okay, you can open your eyes. The reading says, by accustoming yourself to the idea, you have learned to think of a few drops of semen and blood that belong to other people as being yourself, even though there is no such thing at all. Why then do you say that you cannot think of the bodies of other people as being yourself as well? There isn't any difficulty in deciding that the bodies of others are your own body too. So this is kind of a meditative analysis on who we think of when we think of me, right? And it starts with the substances that create our own body. And Master Shantideva, he's reminding us that absolutely nothing about our physical body actually is ours, if we really think about it. You know, we were started by one tiny drop from our mother and one tiny drop from our father. Two other people's bodies created our body. And then from there, our body was created by all sorts of outside nutrients and foods and air and everything. You know, like everything that we have of this physical body doesn't really belong to us. I mean, it wasn't ours. It came from somebody else. It came from somewhere else. And yet we've got this habit. Just because we have a habit, we think of it as mine. You know, this is mine. And then, you know, when the air enters into our body from the outside, suddenly it's me. Like, does the air change when it gets past this little line here? Does it get any different? Does it have a different quality? Does it have your name on it? No. There's no difference. There's no difference. But you see, we've got such a mental picture of a line that goes around our entire body. It's so strong. it's so embedded into our subconscious that we fight against it if somebody tells us that that's not the way it is. You know, it's hard to do that meditation. It's hard to imagine that maybe the me that you were always thinking of is not, it's not really there in the way that you think it is. Right? So, Master Shantideva, he starts teaching us how to erode our concept of me in order to be better able to accept other people as me. He's like, well, you know, since this body of mine is not really mine, you know, since nothing about this body is actually me, but I call it me, I've gotten so good at calling it me, that it would be so easy to take somebody else's body too, and just call it me. Like, why not? It's the same substances. It's no more me than my own body is me, you see? It's no more me than my own body. So that's Master Shantideva's argument. And the interesting thing about this chapter, you know, this, as Geshe Michael said, this is a chapter on meditation. And, you know, in our meditation, I think the ultimate goal, you could say, at the beginning is to see emptiness directly, right? To get beyond this deceptive reality and reach a higher reality. And in order to do that, you know, when we see emptiness directly, the thing that we will see is the emptiness of me. The thing that we will see is the emptiness of me. So this entire exercise of trying to deconstruct the me that we think is there, and then reconstruct a greater me that encompasses a lot of other bodies, it's all for the purpose of wisdom, you see? It's all for the purpose of getting to emptiness. That's the real goal. But it's like a skyrocket ship kind of way to do it, you know, because you're going for these very visceral feelings, and you're going for these very visceral attachments to who you are, and you're cutting away at those with like a hatchet, you know, with these little koans and meditations that Master Shantideva is giving you, and we can practice it in our daily lives. You know, we can practice it with our partners. And we can learn how to see emptiness directly by practicing Dakshinyampi. We can learn how to see ultimate reality and get to a state beyond all pain by trying to understand that giving Geshe Michael his ice cream tonight will get me what I want. That's going to help me see emptiness directly, right? That's going to help you see emptiness directly. Practicing, exchanging self and others. Right? So, you have to start trying to erode away this habit of clinging to the me that you have been reinforcing ever since you were young. You know, the me that just wraps around this one body. And, you know, are you going to do that tomorrow? 1 minute. Yeah. Okay, so I have a little story about, like, we were in San Pancho, Mexico, doing Tibetan heart yoga. Some of you were there, some of you weren't there. But anyway, we missed the ones who weren't there, and we had a great time, and we were on the beach, and we were doing all this yoga, and we were all sweating together. It was really fun. So, and we went to the water a lot, and, like, I like that better than fuzzy things, by the way. I would take the ocean more over a stuffed animal any day, but anyway, maybe we can work out something. tell you tomorrow night, but I'm gonna, and, this is like a personal example for me, so I have to tell you tonight, so you're gonna hear it twice. So anyway, he's telling this beautiful story about this project called ACIP, which a lot of you probably already know, but just in case, I'll run it by you really quickly. So, when Tibet was attacked, all the monasteries, most of them were all destroyed and all the books were burned. And so when the Tibetan refugees migrated to India, maybe they had only the books that they carried on their backs through the Himalayas, and they had nothing else, right? That was like their most precious thing, because, these teachings are the way to stop all pain and death forever in the world, so they're very precious to us, and they were very precious to the Tibetan lamas, but they could only carry a few out of the country, and the rest of them got destroyed. So, in the last, 70 years or something? No, since 1959. Yeah. Since 1959, they've been trying to get their books back, right? So, about 20 years ago, Geshe started this project called ACIP, which went around the world and found Tibetan books in other kind of libraries like Russia, St. Petersburg, Russia, and Mongolia. All these strange countries that at one time had been connected to Tibet or had liaisons, and they had actually copied the books and traveled back and forth with them and had libraries of Tibetan books. And so then we started a project of finding the books and then typing them into the computer so that they would never be lost to the world. Because it was pretty scary to imagine that all of this ancient wisdom was lost forever. And then we organized a system where the Tibetan refugees in South India, they can't get jobs, they can't own businesses because they're not citizens of India, they're just refugees. So they're very poor. And so we organized a system where the women in certain refugee towns could help with the inputting of the books. They could help type the books in. And then they would get money for their families. And they would also become heroines because they were saving the Tibetan books at the same time as they were feeding their families and their community. So this was a really great project, and at one point everybody was glorifying His Holiness came and cut the ribbon on the new center, and it was very exciting and all this stuff. But it's been about 20 years since this project started, and we're only a fraction of the way through the books, and we've got about 150 years left to keep, before all the books are typed in, and so it's really quite difficult to maintain an organization in so many different countries, getting the books from one place and making sure the women are all, they've got computers and, they're paid regularly. And we're going into a 3-year retreat, another one, soon. And we want to make sure that these books are taken care of. And so Geshe came up with another brilliant idea, of course, was to, everybody just adopt one woman at one input center and take care of her. And, do the Dakshin Yangye thing, one more person in your family. Just say, hey, this lady, this Tibetan woman in South India typing these holy books that I'm benefiting from every time they have a spiritual garden talk. Just say, now this person is in my family, and I'm going to make sure that she gets paid for the rest of the time that she's doing the input, right? And it's, you could do, should I do that? You could, well, we'll hear about it tomorrow, right? What? I'm not sure how much not to say because I So then he's telling everybody this in some country. He's like, you could be a family member and you could dedicate like $25 a month for the rest of the time that she's typing, you know? Just take her into your family and you dedicate $25 a month. Or you could be the head of a family and you can dedicate $100 a month, right? For this input lady's work. And, or you could be a cousin and you can dedicate whatever money you want, like 10 pesos. We were in Mexico, so we said 10 pesos a month, which is like $1, you know, for as long as she continues typing. And then right at this crucial moment, Geshe looks at me and he's like, well, what are we doing? You know, which one are we going to do? And in my mind, you know, I'm like, we're going into 3-year retreat. I've got 85 people to get retreat cabins for. They're all going to cost $100,000. And I'm calculating like how much money I already promised that I would take care of. Like how many people are already in my circle of me, you know? And I'm up there, and I'm like, and I hesitated, you know? I hesitated to take that circle one more step and put it around one little Tibetan lady. Like, how hard would it be to do $25 a month? You know, it's like, but I hesitated. Like, there was a fear, like, oh, I can't do it. Like, I can't quite do that. I've got so much on my plate already. I can't quite do that extra circle thing, you know? And then I wanted to share that with you because it's that kind of hesitation that we're fighting against when we do this practice. You know, that kind of hesitation that you have to overcome. You know, and when you have that hesitation, you're grasping onto a me that doesn't exist. You're grasping onto a me that doesn't exist. Because you don't understand. At that moment, you really don't understand that helping that woman will help yourself. Like, I didn't understand at that moment, you know? I was trying to be practical. Oh, what's practical? Like, it's very practical to take care of yourself. But taking care of yourself has everything to do with taking care of that lady. Everything. Very practical to take care of yourself. But then you have to ask yourself, you know, who is me? Who is me? She is part of me. That lady that I hesitated about is part of me. She will bring me to ultimate happiness. So how much do you want to do? Okay. We'll be the head of the family. I hope John Brady is here to witness this. If not, somebody please tell him. All right. Okay, so we'll take a break. Yeah. Oh, Geshe might have to tell you something first.
We're going to take a break and we'll come back. A couple of things. During the break, if you'd like to come up and say hi, like if you haven't met us, please do, okay? Come up and say hi. I'm from Wisconsin. You know, I was going to my cousin's wedding and I came to the wrong church. And I'm not enjoying talk and like that, okay? And then, or if you have a question about your own relationship that you'd like to ask, but it's too secret to ask a bunch of people. And so come on up, and we'll do that again tomorrow. I heard some good news 2 days ago. I was swimming in the ocean, and we had a Mongolian man named Batmo who came to the yoga, and he couldn't swim at all, but he wanted to tell me something. So he tried to come out in the ocean, and the waves were knocking him down, and I was afraid he was going to drown, you know. And finally I came out, I said, Apple, what do you need? You know, he says, well, I got to tell you something. And I said, well, don't go in the water, you'll drown, you know. And he said, well, I want to tell you about your book, how your book's doing in Mongolia. You know, like, we printed, the diamond cutter was printed by one of the monasteries in Mongolia. He said it's number 2 nationally. I saw it on TV yesterday, you know. And I said, well, what's number 1? I got upset. I said, well, what's number 1? He said, Oxford Mongolian English Dictionary. Well, I figure everybody has to buy that, right? But the point is that this, and I heard another, you know, Geshe from Taiwan. She said now 3.5 million people in Taiwan are doing a daily spiritual diary because of the diamond cutter. 3.5 million people. And how did this all start? You see, how did all this stuff start? I went to India as a hippie and I ran into the Tibetans and I studied in a Tibetan monastery. And that's how all this stuff started, really. You know, for a lot of us, that's how it started. Just some hippie, because of the Beatles, actually. Went to Rishikesh to find out how to play sitar, you know. And and then all this stuff happened from one person going. So based on that, I mean, a couple of years now, I think 5 years now, we've had a scholarship that we give to young people who come from around the world and around the country, but we give them enough money to fly to Tibetan monasteries, Central Tibetan monastery, and they study there during winter break, like November, December. And then our hope is that, you know, they will get exposed to deep ideas. They'll be speaking in a church 20 years from now when we're in our rocking chairs up on Diamond Mountain. They'll be doing the talks in churches. And so we started this program 5 years ago. And it's really amazing now. Like the people who we've been sending, the young people that we've been sending, they have really learned from the Tibetans. They can read a lot of Tibetan, they can speak some, they understand the ideas we're talking about, and a lot of them are already teaching around the world. So every time we give a spiritual partner talk, we have a bake sale. Rebecca manages it. And then, so there's cookies? Is there any ice cream? No. We'll do, okay? You have to sneak it to me. We want you to buy a cookie, and if you've been here before, you know the pitch, you know? Don't pay 50 cents. Don't even pay Mrs. What's her name? Fields, $3.50. Pay $20 for a cookie, or pay $50 for a piece of cake, or something like that. Like, be brave, you know? When economy gets bad, when money's not there, spiritual people have to give more. You see? Because they're not afraid. And everyone else is afraid. Everyone else is worried. And a spiritual person knows that money comes from giving. You see? So when the country gets scared, and when the economy is really tight, then spiritual people open up like a floodgate, and they give much more. Because it just helps the whole country get their head back on their shoulders, you know, and not be so scared all the time. We are quite capable people. We have the best system in the world, frankly, and we should be given what do you call it? Just unlimited giving, because that's our strength. That's where you derive your strength from. So buy lots of cookies, and if you can't eat them, you know what to do. And we'll be up here, and we'll get back. We'll start back in like 20 minutes time. Okay, let's start. I'll take one more turn, she'll take one more turn, and we'll send it over. Okay, so the kachi comes. What's kachi? Yaba. Yaba comes back. Okay, Yaba's going to keep coming back. In your whole life, Yaba's going to keep coming back. In your own mind. And telling you not to listen to all this. But anyway, so Yaba says, wait a minute, you know, if you are already Lama Christi, right? If in truth you are one, And we've been thinking of it the wrong way our whole lives. And we've been using the wrong words our whole lives, right? Because words are a reflection of how we're thinking. If you and me doesn't even exist, and we just made a mistake all these centuries on this particular planet, in this world, and if you are her, right, there's a problem. You still didn't address the problem that, if something hurts her, it doesn't hurt you. What about Iraq? See, what about Iraq? We're like most Americans, like we feel like we should be doing something, but we don't know what to do. Like we feel like we should be more active, or we should be trying to stop it, but we don't quite know what to do. And so we made a decision 6 months ago. We said, let's go to an Arab country, and let's stay there for 2 months. It's our summer retreat. And let's study Islam and Quran, and let's study Arabic, and let's see how they really think, because you don't know if the newspapers are telling you the way it really is, right? So we decided we will go to Morocco, because we had a good friend who could help us get there. And we were worried, we were worried about going. We were kind of scared to go. Then there was like a bombing, and then there was a kidnapping, and then we decided not to go. We said, we'll go to Colorado instead. Because it was scary. And then one night we were together, and someone was singing Arabic. Someone was singing a verse from the Quran. And we looked at each other and we said, oh my God, we have to go. We have to go. So we changed our plans again, and we finalized it. We got the air tickets, and we made the arrangements. And then I remember when the plane was coming down we went to Marrakesh, right? And the plane was coming down. And I felt a feeling of strong fear that I haven't felt in almost my whole life. I said, what did I get us into this time? I think I went too far. Like this is not safe. This is actually not safe, And then there was this moment of panic, but then you're already on the ground and they open the door, and you have to go out. You have to get out, And we went out, and the first thing, we went to customs, and the guy grabbed our passports and went, American! And then I'm like, is someone going to kidnap us from the airport? And we were really nervous. But we got into the city, and then we went to a village. And for 2 months, we studied Quran and Arabic, and we did retreat, and I can say we've never had a better retreat, and we've never had kinder people helping us, nicer people, who just cared for everything. They knew we were Americans. The first day we had a little disconnect, we walked past a woman all in black, and our caretaker, he said, Taliban, it's Taliban. And we said, we were like, oh, what's Taliban? And he says, the elected government of Afghanistan. And then we're like, oh. And then, but after that, we started to learn from each other. We studied Quran. He had discussions with us about Buddhism. And this went on for 2 months, like with Moroccan whiskey. Did you ever have Moroccan whiskey? Like they're 99% Islamic, so they don't drink alcohol. So they have mint tea, and they call it Moroccan whiskey, and they put lots of sugar. And they said, come, we'll give you Moroccan whiskey. And we're like, we can't drink, And they're like, no problem. And we had Moroccan whiskey all day, and we talked all day about Quran, and then by the end, we were all crying. Like we don't want to leave each other, And we're all, and the day we had to leave, we're all crying, because we love each other so much, and we became family, And then I'm thinking, but there's this argument, there's this kachik, there's this, how come we don't do anything about the war? How come I'm lazier now than when I was in jail for Vietnam? How come? What changed in me that made me not want to work very hard about the war? And I think it's the kachik here, in this next verse that you don't have. He says, she's not you because she doesn't feel your pain, and you don't feel her pain. And the people in Iraq, right? The reason I don't work so hard for them is I don't really feel anything when they get hurt. You see, it doesn't hurt me when a child dies from a bomb. Or I have a friend who's a nurse, John Stilwell's sister-in-law, right? She's a nurse in Basra, detention camp. They call it detention camp. It's a prison camp. There's 20,000 people in a prison camp who just were in the wrong place at the wrong time, you know. And so I don't care. It doesn't bother me. She's doing burn. She does burns. All she does all day is burns. People who got hit by bombs. She just does, and she writes us emails. You know, I got one today. He's going to die by tomorrow. The family wants me to keep putting the bandages on. You know, and I know he's going to die tomorrow because I've seen already 100 of them. You know, and so it doesn't hurt me. You see, I mean, people die there. People get burned there. I get the email. I know that she changed their bandages and they died the next day. And it doesn't. You know, I read it and then I go back to my stuff, you know, because it doesn't really affect me. It doesn't hurt me. So how can you say I'm them? Kachik says, you know, Yabat says, well, how can you say the Iraqis are you? They're not you. They're hurt and you're not hurt. They're getting hurt, they're getting detained, and you're not. You're free to walk. You're free to go to the ice cream. You can joke about taking flavors because you can get in your car and go and they can't. You know, so why worry? You're not the same as them. You're not one with them. This whole thing, idea of one, is not true. You know? So, but there's another. You have to understand karma. You have to understand karma. Why Lama Christie said a human being is created by one drop of semen and one drop of blood. You know. So one drop of semen and one drop of blood has the power to keep a person going for 70 years. The cells will continue to divide for 70 years. It's extraordinary. I mean, you never thought about it. How can one drop from my father and one drop from my mother have the power to reproduce me for 70 years? You know, millions of cells to keep them going for 70 years. It's like unbelievable. It's like what? What is sustaining my life? What keeps the cells splitting? You know, what is that? We say karma. We say karma. You know, you have given life to others. You have protected other people's lives. And that's why the cells in your bodies keep splitting for 70 years. You see? That's why. Life comes from giving life. Money comes from giving money. Care comes from giving care, right? So why do people get old? You see? Why do people get old? Why do people age at all? You see? Why does the power to split, why does the power of the semen and the blood slowly drop over your life? Why do you lose your hair? Why do you lose your hearing? Why do your eyes go bad? You see? It's of interest to us. You know, every person here, if you don't die, you'll end up in a nursing home in Tucson somewhere, being ignored by the nurse as you wet your pants, you know, and you will be there. This is a temporary thing. Coming to the church, driving a car, walking, eating, working, these are temporary. They will pass. They will surely pass. And then you will be too old to do those things. And you will lie down and gravity will beat you. And you won't be able to get back up. And you will be a mostly blind, mostly deaf, mostly incoherent person. If you live that long, you must become that way. Right? Why? You know, why does the aging start after like 40, 50 years? Why do the cells only go for 70 years? Why can't they go for 100 years or 200 years? Why don't they just go for 10 minutes? What is it in this cell? You know, why does this, who chose 70 years? You know, and is that a real limit? Could you go for 100? Could you go for 200? You know, who decides 70 years? Why doesn't it just stop splitting after 10 minutes? You know, how come life goes on? We say, because you protected life, because you take care of life, you see? So if there is any life in the world that is in danger, and you know about it, and you don't do anything, you get older. the ability of your cells to continue is damaged. You see? Nothing to do with science, nothing to do with chromosomes, nothing to do with DNA. They all came from respecting life. You see? Taking care of other people's life. The root cause of all cellular growth is moral. You see? It's an action, it's an attitude, it's to take care of other people's lives, it's to protect other people's lives. If we protected life perfectly throughout the length of our life, we would not age. You see? It's something extraordinary. I met a woman, I have a friend, she came to San Pancho. Did you meet her culture? You have no idea how old she is. You know? Well, where is she now? She's in Burma. She's helping the monks who are getting tortured. She's not from Burma. She's risking her life every time she goes. And she's got this face. She looks like 20, you know? She's got like, I don't know how many kids. I can't count her kids, okay? No, and she's just got this beauty because she takes care of life. That's all she spends her whole life taking care of life. She's not aging. It's very weird, you know? And if every time we heard that life was endangered, we did something, we would not age, you see? So is it true, the yeah but that said, what about Iraq, you see? So somebody gets burned in Iraq from an American bomb. A child, this was a child the other day. A child was burned by a bomb and was taken to our John Stillwell's sister's unit, and, you know, they kept her alive for 3 days and then she died, you know? So that doesn't hurt me. Yeah, we say no, it does hurt you. If you heard about it, if you came to the church and you heard Geshe Michael say that the bombs that you paid for have killed a child, through very painful death, burning, right? And you don't do something. You don't do something. In that moment you age. In that moment your death comes faster. Your death speeds up. Your aging speeds up. It doesn't. It does affect you. You see? Something across the world. Once you hear about it, according to Buddhism, and you don't act, and you don't do something, you age. It causes your aging. You see? So yeah, in a way, you are one with that child. You're not separate from that child. You see, that child's pain is your pain. That child is the foot. You are the hand. Will you take the pain out? Now that you know about it, right? Will you do something or will you won't do anything? You know? The hand doesn't ask everybody, oh, what should I do about the nail? You know, I don't know what to do about the nail. It's so complicated. The question is so complicated. The foot is like, take it out already. The hand is like, gee, I don't know. You know, it's so complicated. It's all so complicated. You know? And the foot is in pain. And the hand is here. And the hand just has to take it out. So do something. You know, do something. What we thought to do was just go and live with some Arabic people and learn from them, you know, and become one with them and understand that we are both families. So now, I don't know, 5 Islamic people in a foreign country think that Americans are really cool. And 2 Americans think that 5 Arabs are really cool. And I think if we all did that, then something would change, right? So think about it. You can do something. If you can't think of anything, talk to us. We'll give you something. Really, honestly, okay? Do something though, okay? Because they are part of one body. We are one body with them. All the life in the world is one body. And all the pain in the world is the common enemy of all of us. You see? We cannot tolerate any pain that is experienced by any living creature in this planet. We can't tolerate it. Because they are us. We are one person. We are one body. You see? We have to do something. Okay? So think what you can do. Don't wait for who's going to be president. Okay? They'll be too slow. Doesn't matter. You know? Either one will be too slow. We have to take matters into our own hands. we are the population of America. They are just a couple of schmucks who run, you know. And we decide what happens. We have that power. We have arms and legs, and we have email, and we can contact the Arabs directly. We don't need the Bush to do it for us, or the other guy. We don't need that. We can make contact, and we can help them. So do.
So I think we finally got some greetings that are being passed out now. A little better late than never. Sorry for the delay. So I'm going to read the next verse. The things we call a continuum and a collection are unreal. They're like a string of things or an army. That one with suffering doesn't exist at all. So who is he that could ever stop it? Does anyone have a mullet? No. That's good. So, thanks. Plus, so this again is talking about what we think of when we think of ourselves and what we think of when we think of other people. And it's a little bit, I don't know, I was discussing with my co-worker up here whether it was too late to hit you with this tonight or whether I should wait till tomorrow to do it because it's a little bit, I don't know, in depth for late night last term. But we'll introduce it, and then maybe we'll talk a little bit more about it tomorrow. So when it says the things that we call a continuum and a collection are unreal, they're like a string of things or an army, this is talking about who you think of. The continuum is talking about who you think of as me over a period of time. You know, and it's like moments of consciousness come and go, right? In this space that we call now. And where are the past moments of your life? Where do they exist? We think that we exist as a continuum, a mental continuum, right? Like this rosary, moments of our consciousness strung together to form a me, like to form a whole string. But where in actuality are all of these past moments of you? Like, do they actually exist? Can you reach back and find them? Can you touch the past? Can you touch any moment of your past? We've got present moment memories of what we thought went on in our past. But really there's no way to prove that that was what happened in the past because it's only a present moment memory of what happened in the past, right? There's no string of moments that create you. You see, there's only a moment of consciousness, right? There's no continuum that exists, right? Except for a picture of it in your mind right now. Except for a picture of this string, which you call you. Like, I can stretch my mind back to when I was 7 years old and I was sitting there on my birthday and we were out in the backyard and we were in the pool and, where is that? in my mind now, right? There's no, I can't reach back to it. I can't reach back in time. You know, so this whole idea of this me extending over a period of time and extending into the future, which we talked about before, right? This whole me that I'm wrapping around a certain idea, it doesn't exist. It's totally ephemeral. It's just an idea, a picture in my mind, right? So then Master Shantideva says, okay, since there is no you except for this picture, then what about the suffering that you think you're feeling? What about the pain that you're feeling? And who's going to fix this pain if there's no you to deal with the suffering? Right? Then he goes on to talk about a collection of parts. Right? And we'll do this from like an outside view. Say, we'll go back to you and your partner because, hey, this is a partner talk and I haven't talked much about you and your partner. So, there's a me which stretches over a period of time, which I call my mental continuum, which I say is Christy. I call her Christy. And then there's my partner out here. My partner is called Geshe Michael. And he's a collection of parts. Right? He's a collection of parts. How do I see Geshe Michael? How do I know that Geshe Michael is here? In order to see Geshe Michael, the whole, I have to see all of the parts of Geshe Michael. I have to see Geshe Michael's eyes, and his nose, and his mouth, and his shoulder. But if I'm looking at the parts, like if my eye is going from one part to the next, then I'm not looking at the whole, right? I can't see Geshe Michael because I'm focused on the parts. But how could I ever see the whole if I didn't look at the parts? Like, what is the whole except for the parts? Right, so when you're looking at the parts, you can't see the whole. But how can you look at the whole without seeing any parts? We'll say it again. When you're looking at the parts, you can't see the whole. You can't see Geshe Michael when you're looking at Geshe Michael's eye or nose. You can't see Geshe Michael. You're looking at the parts of Geshe Michael. But if you don't look at the parts, how can you see the whole? How can you see Geshe Michael? You can't. It's impossible. Geshe Michael is not out here. Right? Geshe Michael doesn't exist in the way that you think that you are seeing Geshe Michael, because that is completely impossible. Every single object that you ever see, you can't be seeing it the way that you think you're seeing it. Geshe Michael is, our prime example here. You're not seeing Geshe Michael because you couldn't look at Geshe Michael's parts and also see the whole. And you couldn't see the whole without looking at his parts. So what are you seeing? Like, you do see a Geshe Michael up here. Where is Geshe Michael coming from? Geshe Michael is coming from your mind. Geshe Michael is coming from my mind. Right? It's a projection. It's a tiny picture in the back of your mind that you project onto some colors and shapes. Because you could never identify these colors and shapes as Geshe Michael from their own side. So, what does that mean? Like, say somebody is giving you a hard time. you know. Or say somebody is causing you pleasure, causing you pain, you know. Like, if the person themselves is not coming from out here, then there is no possible way that they could ever be making you feel pleasure or making you feel pain. In this particular verse, they talk about pain, right? So, you know, we can stick to the verse. But how could anybody else cause you pain? If the person themselves isn't even coming from out there. So you start to see the sense of self dissolving more and more and more as we get deeper and deeper into Master Shantideva's meditations. Your idea of you stretching over a continuum of time starts to dissolve. Your idea of the other person and, you know, as a collection of parts that make a whole starts to dissolve. And you are left with one single source where everything comes from, and that is your own behavior towards other people. The imprints that you plant in your mind by how you treat others are making all these pictures in your mind. They're forcing you to see people that bring you pleasure. They're forcing you to see people that bring you pain. And there is no other self out there besides that. And they're forcing you to see yourself in a certain way. They're forcing you to see yourself either as a limited self or as a self that can stretch their line around somebody else, right? It's all coming from a picture in our own mind. That wasn't too bad. You guys were pretty focused, actually. I was worried it was too late. So what do we have to do if we want to be seeing total bliss all the time? Fuzzy things. Fuzzy things. That's what Geshe Marcus said. Fuzzy things. I swear I like the ocean better. Just give me the ocean any day. But practice stretching your line around somebody else. See what happens. You know, so this beautiful newborn baby came up to me during the break. It was so great. You know, the mom and dad, they can definitely relate to stretching their line around somebody else. It's so beautiful. You can see it on their faces. They're just glowing with this natural gift of being able to love because they've made that person part of them. And there's no reason why we can't do this with all the people around us. There's no reason at all. We have no limitations. We think, you know, like I thought in San Pancho when I was being hesitant about that one last Tibetan lady after I had so much on my plate. We think that we've got limits to our time, to our resources. In actual truth, the more we stretch our lines, the greater our limits are. The more we stretch out, the more we have to give. We just become more and more capable of giving to other people. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to watch, to see yourself expand in that way. Because as you expand your line, your capacity expands. You really do become bigger, a bigger kind of person, a more capable kind of person to help others. And it spirals upwards like that, right? So, between now and tomorrow night, do a little experimentation on yourself. Figure out somebody that you want to try and do this lasso thing with. You know, like rope around somebody else and say, I'm just going to decide that this person is me. I'm just going to decide that every single thing that they want is something that I want. They are me, I am them. And practice it and see what happens. It's a self-experimentation, happiness-getting kind of fun thing to play with. Okay? Alright. We'll do a short prayer just to offer the good karma of talking about these holy things up to other people in the world. Yeah.